Okay, and this is the second demo for the Name with Pictures assignment. And I'm just going to show you a little bit more specifically things about layers. You can edit and work on individual layers. And one thing you can do in the layer palette over here on the right side is to name the layer. So you can click in on the word, just double click it, and then you can actually put the letter of the layer for each one if you want. So I'm just double clicking right on the text there where it says the layer number and then changing it. And make sure you hit return after you change the name. Okay, that way it's just easier to tell what you're working on when you have a layer highlighted here. So I'm actively working on the Y at this point. And let's say I've decided that the Y may be just a little wide for me. Maybe I want to squish it in some. So what I can do is use the move tool, and you want to make sure that you have auto select layer on and show transform controls checked. Okay, so auto select layer and then show transform controls. And the transform controls shows us this little outline of the layer with these little boxes on the sides and the corners. Try to make just your adjustments only from the center boxes. You don't want to run the risk of turning your letters at an angle. If you do something accidentally, just hit exit, or I'm sorry, escape on the keyboard. I'm going to squish this one in just a little bit, and I'm going to hit return or enter. And my Y, I'm sorry, my G is pretty wide compared to the other one, so I'm going to actually select it and then squish it down so it's a little more comparable width-wise to the others, and hit return. And then I've just got to come in and bump the letters back together. Okay, so that's a little bit better. G might still be a little bit wide. Squish it just a hair more. There we go. Now I did add some extra space at the end, so I'm going to make sure I go back to my crop tool. So C on the keyboard. Make sure that the crop tool is cleared out at the top, and then remove that excess from the end. Okay. Now since we do have individual layers, we can edit them independently with the image adjustments menu. So you can come in and you probably already edited your letters, tweaked them, bumped the contrast, that kind of stuff. But if you want to do anything else to them, you can at this point. Like for instance, the G, I might want to bump the contrast up or something on it. So I'm going to select my G layer here. I'm back to my move tool just so I can click on the layers out directly on the picture. Image adjustment, and maybe just do a levels adjustment on the G. Actually bring some pure black down, just the gray, bring in the white a little bit more. Just bump it up a little bit. Okay, and you can do that independently of each one. Now y'all are going to be turning in two versions of your name. One version where it's like this, it's the straight photographs. Now these are all black and white. Yours may be all color. That's fine. I just happen to be working with black and white images. Um, But you can you'll turn in two versions. One that's the straight images like this, and then another one where you have added filters, and you want to do that on a layer by layer basis. So just choose the layer and go to the filter gallery, and you can choose different filters to apply to each one. Okay. Um, and in the filter gallery, there's all these different groups of filters, and you just pick the filter, and then over on the right side there are different adjustments that you can make depending on the filter. And this is the glass filter, and it's a distortion filter. There's brush strokes. You can see it sort of adds the brush stroke effect. And some layers use colors. So neon glow, you can actually pick a color to apply with it. Um, Since I'm working with a black and white image, I actually don't want to use a color. So I'm just going to use the crosshatches here. And you want to make sure that you don't move the image too far from being recognizable. That one you can't really tell there's an effect there, but there is. I'm going to go to the B, back to the filter gallery again. And you can also, there a number down here, you're welcome to choose any way you want to. Anything that has dots after it means you're going to get the some kind of window to make the adjustment in. On the B, filter, let's see, let's go with emboss, and you can see the preview here. I'm just going to, this little square is what I see in this square, so go with the emboss on that one. Back to the S here. I'll go back to the filter gallery again on the S. I'll go with a stained glass effect. Patchwork will work. Play with the adjustments if you like. Oops. Now if you choose this first one here, that's the last thing you used. So you can apply the same filter again to something. So if I click on the eye and I go to filter, there's glass right there. Same thing. And last one here. That's going to really mess it up. I don't like that one either. I'll go glowing edges on that. Okay, so this one is the filter one. Now I haven't saved this document yet, so I'm gonna save it Command S, and this one's going to be the name with filters. And effects. I can't remember how I told y'all to save it. Okay, so that one is now saved. And that is the second demo, applying filters and looking at the layers.